Hello, this is Ian, and this video is going to be a little different. It's kind of dark. I don't know, I thought this actually looked better than the alternative. My normal video camera broke a while back, so I just have the webcam on my computer. Anyways, this is going to be a story about what happened yesterday uh, with psilocybin mushrooms. So yesterday was Sunday, and I went to jiu-jitsu, Health Gracie in Berkeley. And after the class, and I got totally destroyed. And after the class, I went looking for some mushrooms around Berkeley, psilocybin mushrooms, and I found a lot actually, just growing like wild. So I picked him, and then I took him back to San Francisco, and then I. It's a little weird talking about this thing. Like, I hear a lot of people say like these disclaimers, like they say like I'm not promoting the use of illegal activities and stuff. A lot of people I see that like making videos about talk about different kinds of things like psilocybin or LSD or use with, apparently what's considered illegal substances, but I'm not gonna say that because I think it's kind of. Anyways, I already said it, but I think it's kind of silly. Anyways, I'm gonna tell you my experience and the best that I can. So, anyways, and I came home, and then I decided I wanted to try these out. And so I went to the Presidio, and at about 5:30, I'm making this video because I want to remember this. And if I don't make this video, actually, I never know if you're actually going to see this video, what I'm going to do with it. I have another idea for a more artsy video related to this. Anyways, so 5:30 or so, I went out to the Presidio and got off the bus and then headed towards it's called Lover's Lane Trail. It's the entrance into the Presidio in the southeast corner of the Presidio, and ate these mushrooms. I put a little cinnamon on them. These mushrooms are called psilocybe Allenii, I think it's how you say it. And put a little cinnamon on it. Ate it, maybe 5 or 6 of them, and they're pretty like kind of largish for psilocybin mushrooms. And went down Lover's Lane and ate these mushrooms, then just started hiking. Down the trails are really cool, winding. I'm going to make a video of this, and you'll be able to see this later. And just started hiking down, and then hiking around the Presidio. And then wasn't long. I had pretty much fasted most of the day. Like, I ate a little bit for breakfast, just a little bit, and that was it. And so I pretty much fasted, hadn't eaten anything, and I was going to eat later after the experience. So started hiking, and then the effects started. Maybe 30 minutes later, I started to sort of feel the effects. First thing that I noticed, my body felt kind of. I started feeling this kind of like pulling in my inside, like towards the left or right. This kind of weird, like sort of like disorientation of balance or something like that. And then the trees, like eucalyptus trees. Like, I love eucalyptus trees. They're so. I'm getting distracted by looking at myself. I'm gonna try not to look at myself. Look at the Google homepage here. Trees are really. The eucalyptus trees are really beautiful, and I don't know, something about it. The thing with mushrooms, you eat mushrooms, like some things like pop out, other things look normal. It's really weird. But the eucalyptus trees, there's like a lot of them there. Like they're really beautiful. And then they just started to, I don't know, just something about them just like just pop out. They're just like very vivid looking. And, walking along, winding my way. I'm going to go to this place I often go to, which is near a golf course. And it's like on the side of the golf course is all these eucalyptus trees and some grass. It's really beautiful. And you kind of see out towards the golf course, and it's really nice, like these trees and this grass between the tree and the ground, and really, really nice. And so, sort of making my way towards there, and just gradually, starting to feel the effects. This sort of walking became a little difficult, like almost kind of like, in a, sort of like a bit of a stupor, kind of like an alcohol stupor, kind of. Felt a little clumsy, so. And stiff and sore. And so I'm walking, and I'm starting to feel the effects, and very visual things starting to, some things just starting to pop out. And like the mushrooms, they have this kind of dark, some things look like really beautiful and they really pop, really vivid. And other things look kind of like, kind of deathly. Like, I don't know, like just kind of dark. Some things, and sometimes I see like this color, the color. I don't know if it's like the psilocybin color of blue. Like sometimes lots of things seem to have a bluish kind of tint to it. Just kind of deathly. So that I'm starting to get some effects like that, and I'm just hiking along, just kind of slowly, gradually making my way there, and walking up, and then, increasingly more and more and more, feeling more, and more visuals, and, I ate them at 5:30, 5:39, I checked my clock, and I'd eaten. So I finally made it to that area, and I just kind of sat down, and I think I was kind of anxious, feeling kind of anxious, and they were definitely starting to like kick in the effects and the visuals, and I can't remember everything. I might have to do some backtracking, but I remember this one point where I'm looking at I'm sitting in this area that I talked about. It's really beautiful with the eucalyptus trees and the grass, and I'm kind of looking, and all the trees suddenly look like they'd all been organized and planted like in lines. And I don't know if that's the case, because I never noticed that before. It might have been a hallucination. And really intense, like feeling, or just, I remember looking kind of like down through the trees, and then seeing like these, the trees kind of like separated into like my view of vision, like, how like everything's balanced, like the trees are like you're looking at a portrait, or you're just looking, your vision, everything's balanced, and it's like it's there's gravity, right? Everything's weighted towards the bottom, and things like trees, like the wind blows, and the trees will move from side to side or whatever like that. But now the trees were like, set of trees was kind of going like this. There's like 3 sets I remember. Like I have 2 hands, so I can't like. One set of trees is kind of going up like this, going down, up and down, and there's another one doing the same thing. Kind of remind me of some weird thing of like a carousel. These trees, like with those. I think it's called a carousel with it, whatever. And trees, and like that that was pretty trippy. And I just started feeling, I think I was feeling like anxious and a combination of a bunch of different things. And then I just started walking around. And, part of the reason why I got interested in psilocybin mushrooms again was just from all the research and all the studies going on. And it sparked my interest in them. Like, maybe I could use them to help myself. And so part of the reason why I'm doing that is just, figure things out in my life. Like, where am I going? What am I doing? Like, just try to figure things out. I remember just walking around and seeing, just talking to myself, asking myself questions on some of the problems that I'm focusing on, and just a lot of walking, pacing back and forth, and starting to get darker out. So it was like 7:30, pretty much getting dark, and I'm in the Presidio, and it's the woods or whatever. So then I decide I'm gonna start walking. And time's really slowed down. It's like 2 hours. I'm just kind of there. It's getting dark, and I started I might forget some stuff and have to come back to it. I started walking out and towards the golf course, and then I remember it was really, really weird. I couldn't the trail looked like there was ice on it. I think in fact it's really dark out, very little light, and it was actually, I think, sand or just packed dirt, kind of gray packed dirt, and it looked like it was ice, and I was sort of afraid to step in it because I thought, I don't know, what is that? I was just tripped out, and yeah, the effects of the mushrooms were made me a little clumsy, a little sort of stiff. They say the psilocybin mushrooms floods your head with blood, and it leaves your body, so your brain's getting all this stimulation, right? And so yeah, I remember walking, and then I walk out behind the it's the golf course there. There's a restaurant or something, and there's a trash area where they keep trash. And then I see this animal. It was like a cat, but it was it was a really weird looking cat. It must have been some sort of feral cat, and his face was really strange looking. Of course, yeah, I'm hallucinating some, but there was a cat, and it was strange looking. It was nighttime, so it was dark. So it was one of these creatures that comes out at night or whatever. But it was very wild looking, And yeah, and then I just decided I had a really difficult time walking, the cool thing about psilocybin is if I say that it floods your brain with blood, there's a couple pictures. I'll have to put a link to this, or you can look it up yourself. And there's two pictures side by side, and they show how your brain normally works, and then how your brain works on psilocybin. Basically, it's two circles. One is a normal circle, and there's sort of a default. I think they call it default mode or whatever. And there's just a few connections, few lines of connections that are kind of organized or whatnot. But there's not that many connections. It's fewer connections, and then the picture with your brain on psilocybin, all these lines, all these connections. So all these parts of your brain, it shuts down one part of your brain, and then the other parts of your brain are all these connections. There's all these connections. Anyway, you can look it up and learn about it yourself. I forgot where I was going now. I saw that cat. I was just yeah. I'm leading towards the sort of peak experience. A lot of that, I can't remember, what was going on in those 2 hours. A lot of talking to myself. I think feeling fear, some anxiety, and trying to relax. And then I started walking back, and I was going to walk back. There was like a park and a bathroom sort of in between, like the golf course and then like the Lover's Lane, which is like another hill. I started walking through that. It was really difficult to walk because it was dark, and then plus the mushrooms, and like felt very uncoordinated, and just had to really be careful, like walking, you know. And so, as I'm walking down to the park, I finally get to the park. I don't know. I think it really started to even hit me harder. Now it's like probably around 8 or so, and I went in the bathroom, and I don't know what happened. I just felt like I gotta drink water. I was really thirsty, and then like I think I started getting like this paranoia, like I was sick, and I was gonna die, and I made all this mistake, and then all this stuff, all these things started going through my head, and I was like thinking, I ate the wrong mushroom, I'm gonna die. These weren't psilocybin mushrooms, and then of course I was thinking, no man, you did the identification, they were psilocybin, you know. So I'm having this thing going back, and this paranoia, and it's just like my brain saying to myself, stop fucking around with these mushrooms, you know. And like, so I'm just drinking water, and I just like, okay, I wanted to stop, you know. I wanted to stop, and I was just like sort of frantic, like thinking, why are you fucking around with these mushrooms, you know? You gotta get rid of them, don't use this stuff before. And then it reminded me of, okay, there's another time, maybe, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks ago, I had an experience too, different mushrooms that I had found growing out in the wild. A total different one. And I was saying the same things to myself, like, why are you fucking around with these mushrooms? And I wrote it in my books, like, stop doing that. And so I think it's like this sort of tension, like a feeling like wanting to control the situation, but not really having control. And so I think there's just this tension, this resistance, and I was fighting it. And I heard myself say that. I was like, you said that before the last time, too. You know, stop fucking around with these mushrooms. You know, and then like thinking some things that happen, like yeah, your roommates get some paranoia. I started getting some serious paranoia, like your neighbor doesn't like you. They're gonna find out. You have mushrooms, and he's gonna try to bust you, and you're gonna go to jail, and all these things. And I was like, you gotta throw all this stuff out, get rid of it. Go home, get rid of it, and I just got really paranoid, and I started getting worked up, and then I started feeling sick too. And this was around, God, what, eight-ish or something like that, and I just started guzzling water because I wanted it to get out of myself. You know, I felt so sick, and as I'm guzzling water, and I decided, okay, I got to start walking home. To sort of leave that park area, like it was the bathroom there, and I got some water and stuff, and I was drinking water. And there was a guy there with his son. He kind of walked by and smiled. And I'm like, wow, like in the land, and I just kind of say hi. And I was like, who knows what I look like? Because later I saw my eyes, and eyes were like, bah, like wide open, you know. And so I leave there, and I just started fighting it. And I started thinking about some things like, your father didn't respond to you, or just say. I told my parents a little bit about, I tell them about mushrooms and stuff, like what I'm learning, and all these studies and research about mushrooms. And my dad was like, told me a bad experience he had, or a long time ago when he had taken them or something, or some. He just said he had a bad trip, you know. So. Which reminds me of some other videos. I saw this guy, James Fadiman, talking about a better way to phrase it, instead of a bad trip, is a challenging trip. Anyways, this was like that. And so I started leaving, and I'm walking, and I got sick. I had been drinking all this water, and I thought, man, I'm going to die. I'm thinking about all my family and my parents, and just like saying, like, why are you fucking with these mushrooms? Just like really fighting it, really trying to control it, really trying to get it out of myself. And then just walking back and towards that, and there's this wall. There's like a road, sort of on the edge of the Presidio, that runs basically west to east. And then on the side of the road, there's like this stone wall, and then the other side of the stone wall is basically neighborhoods and houses and all that. So I'm walking, and I start throwing up because I was drinking tons and tons of water, and I just started throwing up. And I just wanted to get it out of me or something. And I looked at the clock, and it's 8:30, and I remember something Paul Stamets said he was talking about this certain species of mushrooms called he says psilocybin. And other people say psilocybin, psilocybin. Anyways, um, as he would say it, psilocybe azurescens, which is a really, really potent mushroom. In these ones that I ate, called psilocybin Allenii, or psilocybe Allenii. Anyways, whatever the correct way of saying it is, I'm not sure. You guys can debate that. Anyways, what was I gonna say? I got distracted. So, I remember what he said. He said he was telling a story about his friends who ate this certain kind of mushroom that was really strong. And he just said, "Look at the clock. Look at the clock. You just gotta, you just gotta, uh, you just gotta wait. It's gonna be over. It's not. This isn't gonna last forever. Just look at the clock." And so I did, and I was like 8:30, and I was like, "Fuck! I just gotta make it like a couple more hours. That's it." And and his story was funny too. And he was saying that you just gotta wait like that, and he was saying like they're looking at the clock and they're like, tick, tick, because time is so slow. Like slows way, way, way down. And yeah, I'd thrown up, and I was there and on this wall, and my body's tired and I hurt, and I didn't eat any food all day. I kind of wish I had some food to eat at the time, so I thought it might make me feel better or something. And there's this wall, and I've just thrown up a bunch, and I lie down on this wooden wall, and it was like so imperfect. There's like this street light on the edge of this stone wall, and it's like, oh, this light's so bright. And my body's like, oh yeah, fuck. The other weird thing, like my hands started just like shaking. I had my water bottle. I had been guzzling all this water, and then I'd thrown up. After I had guzzled all that water, I'd thrown up. My hand was just like shaking, And wow. So finally, I'm sitting on this line. I'm throwing up, and I lie down on this wall, and I can remember this video I watched. I'll link to it. You'll find out about it. I'm going to make another video, like I said, a more artistic one that's kind of related. And I just remember what she said, and I can't remember her name, who she was, but I think she worked in a university, and she was talking about people who have like bad experiences or so-called bad trips. I think challenging trip is a better way to phrase it, as I told you earlier. And she said the way to deal with that is to surrender. And my body started I think I got so worked up and so trying to fight what I was feeling and control it, and just like guzzling water and trying to make it stop. And I remember what she said. She said, surrender. And so I'm there. Oh shit. this still work? Hold on a second. I want to check that this is still working. Okay, it's still working. Good. So what was I saying? So surrender. In this, my body, like I feel like all this tension in my body, in resistance, you know. And it's in that moment I just realized there's all this tension. You're just resisting. You're resisting too much. You're too resistant. And I just remember what she said, and to surrender. So I just kept telling myself, and my legs were shaking, and like I'm lying on top of this like stone wall, this really long stone wall, and I just kept telling myself, surrender, surrender, and I feel like all this tension in my body just like built up and like fighting, and I just kept saying that over and over and over and over and over again, surrender, 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 and just totally try and relax my body, and like I'm lying down on this like wall that's like maybe stone wall that's maybe at that point maybe 3 or 4 feet tall and maybe 2 feet wide or something. And I'm just like, oh, this light's too bright, and like, oh, this is so not perfect place and stuff like that. And then I look up and I can see this like trippy tree like above me, and this is like, ah, oh, this is so not perfect. And it's like I'm trying to like control, like I just like want something else, and I just kept saying that over and over and over again. Surrender, surrender, surrender. Just accept it, and stop fighting and stop resisting, and I just kept saying it, and my body started to relax, and that made such a huge difference. All right, I'm back. I had to delete a ton of files on my computer because I had no space. I was running out of space. So hopefully this is going to work. I'm going to try to glare into the white Google here for a second. Alright, that gives my screen a little more color. Anyways, I'm trying to remember where I was. Fuck. I think I was telling you about surrender. So I'm lying on this wall. I totally lost count of exactly where I was. And there's all this resistance in my body, like I think just trying to fight and control this is a situation and the effects of the psilocybin. And I think at a high dose, which I took, first time I had eaten those particular mushrooms, so I was not quite aware. You don't really have much control at a high dose. Like, you can kind of control it at a lower dose. Just kind of get a taste of it, maybe a little bit of visual things. But at a high dose, so where was I? Anyways, this is all going on, and I'm like resisting and fighting, and I just kept telling myself what I remember. This girl in the video, she did some work with the like I don't know, university or something that studies with psilocybin, and just like she was talking about bad experiences or so-called bad trips, and that to overcome it, you had to surrender. So I just remembered that when I was there, and then I just kept telling myself, surrender, surrender. I just feel all the parts of my body just like fighting. I don't know what it was exactly. This like sort of panic state I kind of got into or something. And I just kept telling myself, surrender, surrender, surrender. And as I did, I would start feeling my body just relax more and more, but then kind of like just go back to this tension in my body, and And I just relax, and I'm lying, like I can't really. I'm on this wall. I said it's 3 or 4 feet high, maybe 2 feet wide, and I'm just. I feel like all this going on, this tension in my body and resistance. And I'm just telling myself, surrender, surrender. And then there's like all these coyotes, like I can hear them like yelping and yelping and yelping, and like they're getting closer. The sound, and I think they thought I was like dying or something. I don't know, because I'm lying on this wall. I'm on my back. My arms, I can't. The walls here, but like this totally laid out in this wall, and they just kept yelping and yelping and yelping. And I started thinking, are they yelping at me or what? And then I just said, shut up, and they just stopped. And yeah, what a trip, man! The coyotes thought I was like dying or something, and I'm laid out. Why? Because I'm laid out like this, like I'm totally lying on this, and I'm just telling myself, surrender, 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 and to get my body to relax, and I just felt all this tension in my body trying to hold on and control, and then I just remember her voice, and I just kept saying that over and over and over and over and over and over, and something like something like I didn't like leave that wall until 11 p.m. or something like that. And I probably got on that wall at around 8:30. And I remember being like so paranoid too about the cops. It's like, yeah, I got a lot of paranoia in that experience. I had that before when I consumed mushrooms. A higher amount of mushrooms. And yeah, I was so paranoid about the cops. I was like, oh, the cops are gonna come, I'm gonna get busted. And I just kept saying, and then I said to myself, okay, just tell them you were drinking. If the cops come, you were drinking and stuff like that. And then it was funny, like I kept saying to myself, surrender, surrender. And finally, I got myself to relax. And I'm just like totally laid out, like just, I don't know, no wonder why the coyotes thought I was like dying or dead or something, because I'm just like totally like sprawled out, just trying to relax my body, and I'm having like these convulsions in my body, like this tension, and I don't know what it was. My body like fighting, um, fighting the psilocybin, or if I had worked, because I had worked myself up into the state and I was trying to control it by drinking all this water. And like I said, I'd thrown up somewhere around 8:30 or something like that. I kept telling I just gotta, yeah, I don't know. It was insane. And then, yeah, so I just kept saying that surrender, 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 and that worked. It really worked. Um, it made all the difference, surrender. And I don't know, and finally I got my body to relax. And like I said, 8:30 is like when I was in that area. I remember checking my clock when I like sat down on that wall. Yeah, it was just like so imperfect. It's like cars kind of driving by. I mean, it's nighttime. There's not a lot of cars. There's cars driving by. There was some person kind of walked by, and I'm like, who knows what I look like? Like I'm just totally like laid out, and like my body was like just like maybe even like twitching and kind of like having some sort of convulsions. Like I don't know. I mean, I could have like got up and walked away if I had to, but I so didn't want it. I just wanted to like lay down and I just wanted to relax. It was just the place where I wasn't like the most, yeah, but the people who walked by, so they probably thought, man, this looks really weird. Like my legs are shaking. Um, and then this guy, like right when I get up, and I totally got myself to relax. And it was like around 11 o'clock. And I got to that wall at 8:30. So fuck, man, I was there for like two. That's the amazing thing. That was like a 2.5 hour episode. 2 hours, 2.5 hour episode just in that area, basically on that wall. And man, the coyotes, that was so trippy. The coyotes were barking at me because they thought like I was like dying or dead, and they just see. And they just told them to shut up, and they stopped. It was amazing. This guy comes, and so anyways, at around 11 o'clock, I get up off the wall. I totally calmed myself down, and I get up off the wall, and I'm just kind of standing next to it, and this guy pulls up in his car, and he asks me, he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I said, because the first thing I thought of was my story. If the cops come and they see me, so I'm just telling you, drank too much. And I said, "Yeah, I drank too much." And he goes, I heard those coyotes. Apparently he had driven by, but all those coyotes were like yelping and barking and like making all that noise. And he saw me. Who knows what I looked like, all lined out, and like I'm like in some sort of like, I was conscious, but some sort of like, my body just got so worked up in convulsions. It was like, and he's just like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I had too much to drink." And he's like, "Yeah, I heard all those coyotes like yelping. So crazy, man. The coyotes were thinking about eating me." And I said, "Yeah, you know what? I told them to shut up, and they stopped. And that was it. I just said, 'Shut up.'" And the coyotes just stopped. I never heard any more yelling from them again. So, man, the coyotes were thinking about eating me or something. Like, I don't know. They were like, it was so crazy. And it's weird. It's like I'm looking the whole time, like I'm looking the trees in the Presidio, and there's kind of some houses down there. And there's just one little light. It's kind of soothing. And it was like, I could just see one little light through these trees, and it was just like kind of pointed right at me. This one little light. It was kind of soothing. And then I could see barely the top of the Golden Gate Bridge, the lights like blinking. And then I got up off that wall and I saw that guy and I told him that, and he was like, I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then I was like, I should have just said, you just told him the truth that you ate some mushrooms or something. And I was just like, God, this is paranoid, man. I got up off that wall and then I like kind of walked down and I looked at the Golden Gate Bridge. You can kind of see it like above the Presidio, and at nighttime the lights, and it was like fog and clouds and the red lights like blinking, and it was so beautiful, like just amazing, like I don't know, it was such an insane experience. Um, and then I walked home, and it was like 11 or something, and I'd eaten the mushrooms at 5:30, and then it was a long walk home. I had to walk as Presidio to my house, Chinatown's like, that's a ways. I have walked that far before. I wasn't really in good condition. I was tired, and my knees were like, oh, I was hurting. And yeah, and then I walked home, and I just, I took a slow walk home. Went to Alta Vista Park, which is pretty cool. With a great view of the city at nighttime. And then I tried to make a video with my phone there, but I had a similar problem. I ran out of space in like 4 minutes, and this is a small, cheap. Just doesn't have much space in it, so I couldn't do that. And then eventually, I got home. About halfway there, I walked about halfway back, and then took a bus. There was a bus, and I got home. And that was an insane experience. Something I had eaten mushrooms before. As of recently, I've done some experimentations with them. And way back when I was younger, a few times in my 20s, and then once in my 30s. And yeah, recently, like some. And this was like unlike anything else. Like it just like kept, yeah, it was really, really insane. This resistance and yeah, I don't know. It was sort of cathartic, like a cathartic, like a release. This, all this, like, I don't know. It was just really amazing. I tell you the story, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what that would sound like even, but it was like something. These mushrooms are extremely, extremely potent. So, I don't know. I guess that's all I gotta say. That was my experience. I'm planning on making a sort of more creative video. And if I think of anything else, then I'll have to share it. But I think that's all I have to say for now. Yeah, lay here. So, psilocybin mushrooms, pretty. Yeah, do some research if you're thinking about big difference between a low dose and a high dose. Big difference. And be careful. I felt very uncoordinated, like I said before. Like all the blood goes to your head with psilocybin, and so your body becomes kind of high dose, not that coordinated. Like, that's how I felt. So I've heard some people say, and I've done it before, mixing it with cacao, like chocolate. It's supposed to like help you. So, anyways, I think I'm just kind of dragging on. I don't got much to say. Maybe I'll follow up or make some video. I got the idea of this one sort of creative video that you can check out. And that's it. And I must have been on that wall at got into that wall. It was, I remember, around 8:30ish. At one point, I checked the clock and I said I gotta survive like just another couple hours or whatever, and I'll be okay. And so, and then I didn't actually get off that wall.